All right, good day, hi, and welcome. Ooh, okay. Well, maybe this will be a short one. I got 28 minutes left on the camera, and then I gotta empty the doodad. Hey, what's going? Oh, yeah, there's that. Okay, grab my new reading glasses. I still have the granny reading glasses there too. It's just, you guys have a tendency to laugh at me when I got yeah. I wish they could make glasses with like frames that didn't make you look stupid. I mean, I normally look stupid, but it's not helping. All right, so we got World War III update. I think we're 24 hours to doomsday, according to Donald Trump. Yeah, like again, this war is a strange war because it's a reactionary war, and not only is it reactionary in the sense that they're just responding, but people don't know what the objective is. People around the world don't know what the objective is. Well, I've been kind of telling you what the objective is. Like people are like, well, there's no objective. There is an objective, and that objective is basically Armageddon. That's basically, if you listen to Hegseth, and if you've been listening to pretty much the Trump administration people for since his first term, again, he's a Zionist evangelical doomer. These people want the second coming of Christ. They want the Mashiach. They want the Al Mahdi. Like it's Muslims, Christians, and Jews going full retard on us, right? And again, just because you don't believe in religion, it's not about you. It's about what the people in the power believe, that have the power believe, right? That's what it's about. So anyway, yeah. So that ultimatum, like Trump says he's going to hit all the power plants and all that, and Iran says, yeah, well, the region will go dark. Yeah. I mean, like, so Trump is telling the Iranians he's about to genocide them. He's going to take away their power. He's going to hit their food sources. He's going to hit their desalination plants. Again, these are like by international law, that's crimes against humanity. Like again, Trump is pure evil. He's as evil as Netanyahu is. Like again, this idea that you can just declare war on somebody. Oh, it's not a war. It's a special military It's a war. There's no such thing as a special military operations. It's war. Everything like that is war. Where your country is in another sovereign country's territory, doing anything like that, it's an act of war. So the Iranians said they'll respond in kind. You take out our, and again, the Iranians, the second they knock out the desalination plants in Israel and stuff like that, they've been firing rockets at the Dimona nuclear power plant in Israel. I don't know if they've hit it. I know they've hit facilities around it because it's their critical. Like it's not for everything Israel accuses Iran of, they've done themselves, right? Like getting nuclear weapons and stuff like that. And nobody knows exactly how many nuclear weapons Israel has. Some speculate 200 to 300. I've heard as high as 600. We don't know. We don't know. But it doesn't matter because the entire U.S. arsenal is at the behest of Israel. The Americans don't control their military. Israel does. And there's still people that have gas like that, but it's like, why are we like I'm listening to I play the Forrest Gump in real life. I don't talk politics with people. I am not interested in talking politics with people in real life unless it's like an interview or something like that. But like I'm not interested in doing that because it's just most people have no clue what's going on, right? And it's just like, and people get so easily triggered when they hear something that's uncomfortable. So it's just like it's not worth it. Pick your battles, like why fight with Normie Norman? You know what I mean? But I'm listening to the Normie Normans out there, and they're all saying when they're starting to parrot the stuff that you've been warning people about, it's like I don't have to say anything. It's like, why are we there? Why are they just killing people willy nilly? Why would they just kill all these schoolgirls? Why, again, because they're genocidal maniacs. That's why, they're nuts. They're nuts. They're nuts and they're evil. And the problem that we have is that there's still people you could tell them like this is all done on purpose and they still won't believe you. They still will not believe you because they just can't grasp that kind of level of evil, right? People can grasp the concept of a bank robber or a gang thug or a drug addict or a drug cartel, even a corrupt politician, but they can't like Doctor Evil, fucking sinister, genocidal maniac, homicidal maniac. They can't, they really can't get in the mindset that the Stalinist mindset, the Maoist mindset, these really evil people, like your Bill Gateses and stuff like that, your Netanyahus, the list goes on and on and on and on. It They just can't grasp that kind of psychopathic evil. They can't, right? And again, as my great aunt always says, they're save your breath below your porridge. like there's no like you might as well bang your head against the wall rather than. But I'm listening to the normies going on about okay, we got to get that straight open. Why are we there anyway? Like why would Trump? And everybody's mad at Trump. They're not mad at Iran. They're like okay, I understand you're bombing their country, killing their kids. When they never attacked you, like the average person is not drinking the Zionist Kool-Aid, right? And that's a major positive development. The problem is the crazies still have control of all the nuclear weapons. Like that's the part that really gets me. But we're going to get into like what's coming next. And again, guys, I'm telling you, and I told you, and I told you, and I told you, and I get it. I understand American exceptionalism. They can't get it. Some of these people are just incapable of accepting that they're not number one. Like what does number one mean? Okay, yes, the F-22 from 1990 is going to probably, or 1995 or whatever, is going to probably still be better than that 1979 MiG-29 that the Iranians are flying. Okay, fine, I get that. But the Iranians aren't meeting you in the sky. They're not doing force on force. They're not doing force on force warfare. They're doing asymmetrical warfare. Their Air Force, doesn't matter if you wipe out their Air Force, they're not using it. Doesn't matter if you wipe out their Navy, they're predominantly not using it. They're, the light Navy, yes, the light boats, that's what they're using. And those things, yeah, okay, you've got Apache gunship helicopters, and apparently A-10s are looking for these boats in the strait, but even at that, it's not, you can't just strafe anything. Or you end up like with what happened with the U.S. Navy, becoming a pirate navy, blowing the speedboats out of the water. Just call them drug dealers. We don't know if they're drug dealers, but just call them that, and that'll be good enough for the public, right? And again, the public, they don't react until it hits them in the pocket, right? But they're definitely going to react when it hits them, when they lose their loved ones in terrorist attacks. They're going to be mad at the terrorists, sure, but it's not going to get the rally around the flag. All it's going to do is create the conditions for a basically populist uprising against the Trump administration, and hopefully all the administrations, because they're all in on it. They're all evil. It's just Trump has just taken it to a level that we've never seen before. Like okay, we're doing the whole George Bush lies, weapons of mass destruction, and Iraqi thing, but we're just doing it all in like 3 weeks, rather than try to slow roll it, right? And keep people like docile. So yes, 48 hours. Will Trump taco, because now again he gets himself into this on purpose, right? And if it comes to killing people, he's okay with it. We called Obama out on it. The left said nothing. They just called us racist and bigot. Again, it's like it doesn't matter which one of these goons you get. They all answer to the donor class, right? And the donor class is completely insane. Like they're completely insane. But anyway, yeah. So we'll see how that fares out. Okay, but so again, if Trump hits the power plants and desalination plants and the food, the Iranians will respond in kind throughout the entirety of the Middle East. There's a possible report of another F-15 going down around Ramus Island on the 22nd of March, which was technically yesterday. Israel's stock exchange has been rocketed. So again, the economic damage, guys. Like, okay, to put in perspective of the amount of damage that has been done here, okay, in the region. Pick a country, any country. When you see a rocket comes in, okay, and it hits, what's the first thing you after the explosion? The shattering of glass, right? So pretty much, rocket comes in, pretty much every window for 10 blocks around is pretty much shattered. Just the cost of broken windows. You know, like I know the broken window theory, the capitalists love this, but again, no, this is devastating for the economy, right? It creates shortages, it creates all kinds of chaos. You know, like creative destruction is not an economic model. Only a capitalist would think it is. You know what I mean? Again, communism sucks, but capitalism isn't perfect either. Yeah, so their stock exchange is down. They've hit the banking. So there's all this stuff, you know. And if another F-15, that'll be 6 to 8, maybe 10. Yeah. Yeah, the 2.5 billion debt bubble just burst. All these AI data centers, like the 1,200 AI data centers that were basically floating the U.S. economy for the past year. Well, that bubble's burst. It's a $2.5 billion bubble that just burst. And Trump is asking for another, 200 million or 200 billion, whatever it is, ridiculous amounts of money for to keep the war going. You had Hegseth to say, yeah, well, we got to fund it properly, you know, blah, 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 yeah, just more debt, right? Yeah, the Pomona nuclear power plant attack, like, again, what does that cost? You know, like, again, they haven't hit the actual power plant, but they're hitting around the power plant and very close to it. There's also, there's reports of rockets hitting near the Wailing Wall, hitting near the Third Temple. Yeah, that's probably the Israelis. There was a Patriot system, American-fired Patriot system. A missile malfunction went into a residential area, and they say it injured a bunch of people, probably killed a whole bunch. But yeah, the missile, I don't know. Sometimes these things, some of these missiles are not brand new either. You know, like they could be decades old. You know, just sitting there. Yeah, you maintain them, but things deteriorate from sitting there. And these are very complex machines. So like Patriots, I'd say maybe one in every 100 missiles just fucking does a UE. I think it was the Saudis. They shot themselves like 3 times with Patriot missile systems over the years, where they fire the missile to stop a rocket or something, and they turn on the seeker head or it turns on to, and it hones back in on its own radar. I've heard that happening a couple of times. And then there's just the plain old spirals out of control because something fucked up, right? But yeah, so we had that going on. So more civilian deaths there. Qatar, they lost 6 people in a helo crash. Don't ask me what kind of helicopter. If it's 6 people, probably, I would imagine a Black Hawk or something like that. Probably due to maintenance. Look, these guys are flying. Like, I don't know the Qatari Air Force if they fly like 20 hours a week per pilot, 10 hours a week, 2 hours a week. I don't know, right? What their training is. But most of these places don't do that much training, right? So they do enough training to be proficient, but probably not like 10 hours a day, 3 weeks, going on the fourth week. Yeah, they probably, like their pilots are not used to that, right? So you fly all these hours. Like the fatigue is going to set in with the pilots. You're going to see a lot of just, pilot error crashes. And then, of course, the ground crew's trying to keep up with all the maintenance of all these machines. Like, again, how many of them have been destroyed on the ground waiting for maintenance? This is the problem with a high-tech war. And it's exactly what I said about the F-35s. Like, to keep those things flying, like, the maintenance is going to get them. You know what I mean? You know, after about 3-4 weeks. And that's just exactly what you're seeing. You know, it's a maintenance nightmare. So, yeah, so the 6 guys that there. What was this one? Yeah, hold on. Okay, so now the big news. Okay, I'm going to have to stand near my map for this one. Yeah, so cover that. Yeah, apparently the A-10s were in on the attacks from day one, because there is some left in the region. They've been trying to retire the A-10 for decades now. And the problem is the A-10 is about the only thing that the Americans have built that's actually practical. You know what I mean? But what I got to show you, okay, so Iran, a third world country, has no capabilities. We'll kick their ass in 2 weeks, or 3 days, 4 days, whatever Trump said. You know, every war is going to be a 3-day, and, you know, the Iranians can't fight back. We wiped out their navy, wiped out all that. Okay. We know they can hit from here to here. That's Cyprus. Okay? That is a big circle, right? They speculate that they can hit up to, say, Greece or Italy. That is a really big circle. But no. They've hit, well, I don't know if they hit the island, but they came close. Diego Garcia. Diego Garcia is 2,370 miles away. So that is almost all of Europe. They can hit to Germany and France probably from there. From here, well, let's see. That's another point. So they're almost at the UK. They're into Germany, France, Belgium, edge of Spain. So yes, the Iranians are going to hit Big Ben. They're going to shoot Big Ben. This is probably what Starmer is wavering about. And a lot of people, oh, Starmer, you know, he's embarrassing our military because he's not jumping in on it. Well, careful what you wish for. Because if they can hit Diego Garcia, what they're doing with these rockets is ranging. It's the same thing they've done with the aircraft carriers. They didn't hit them. They ranged them just to let the Americans know we can hit you when we're ready. There's still all the speculation. I know some people, Reg, they're not going to use... those what you call it, landing craft, the Tripoli, and ironically the Iwo Jima. You know, like again, Iran, Iwo Jima 2.0. But yes, those amphibious assault carriers, basically, yes, are going to be standing off somewhere in the Gulf of Oman at the closest, right? And then they'll send out the hovercraft from it, then the landing boats, and then blah, 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 and they get in. And what we don't know is where they're going to attempt to land. But there is not too many places. The guy from History Legends did a good kind of assessment of if they did try something as crazy as landing in like sending these troops to, like Karg Island, they'll never get there alive. Like you'll never get these guys there alive. So the landing craft are definitely for some sort of a landing. But I'm thinking they're going to be using these things for evacuations. Because, yes, Trump is crazy enough to think that, okay, well, if we get all these guys killed, there'll be a rally around the flag, everybody will join the military to go to defeat Iran. I think it'll have the opposite effect because nobody wants this war, right? It's like 1991 Gulf War was easy to brainwash people into thinking that we were actually under threat from Saddam. But most people like again, I heard a normie say yesterday, like, why the fuck are we like Iran's not going to get us? There's a fucking ocean in between. You know what I mean? But If they can hit Diego Garcia, I'm going to say they can hit the UK. I believe Iran, this is my speculation, they can hit Washington. With what exactly? Well, we'll know when we know. You know what I mean? We'll know when we know. But I can guarantee you they can hit Washington. There's something in they're going to have something in one of those mountains. It's look, the problem isn't the range. The problem is re-entry. This is the problems the North Koreans have had, and the North Koreans figured it out. It's like you can get the rocket into outer space, but getting the payload back in is always, because like once you're in outer space, you don't need a lot of energy for the rocket to travel. You just need it to be traveling fast enough, and then have the guidance system to be able to, you know, detach the MERV and get it to come into a re-entry position so that when it flips over and lets the warheads out, that it can actually be on target or within range of the target, right? That's the complicated part. But that said, even with that, the technology's there. It's just, you know, have they mastered it yet? So my hunch, yes, they can hit anything they want, within reason. It's just how many of these intercontinental missiles are they going to have? Maybe they have 100, maybe they have 10. I don't know. But I don't think they're going to play that card right away. That said, again, you're seeing all these drones, like, you know, going around the B-52s. They're coming in waves of like 12 to 15. Nobody seems to be really able to stop them, which means they're going to allow, like the Americans can stop these drones to a degree, right? They can't recognize the signature, like the electronic signature. They don't know where it's coming from. So chances are it's going to be the false flag, right? Because they need to kill Americans on American soil to get the Americans to rally around the flag. But I don't think it's going to work. I think there's just because the people on the right, which would normally rally around the flag right away, are now anti-Zionist, anti-Jewish, anti-Israel. You know, they're against the Zionist evangelicals. They're not Christians. Don't call them Christians. They think they're Christians, but they're not. They're just Zionists, right? You know, homicidal Zionists. That's all they are. And you're seeing like all these like little attacks all over the place on Jewish communities and stuff like that. Like I said, what happened? It's the 110th expulsion of the Jews mixed in with the 10th Crusade, right? And as soon as that Mediterranean water warms up a little bit more, I can guarantee you that you're going to see a migrant crisis, like 1 million people a week going into Europe. People are going to hate Israel so much for that, and the chaos that comes from that. You're going to have food shortages all over Europe. You're going to have food shortages in the States because they basically fucked their farmers over. So Trump fucked the farmers over so badly. Like it's you can't, like there are no words, you know. And you know, you've got all these natural gas and fertilizer industries in the Middle East that are no longer up and running right now. You know, like the delayed effect of that is just you know, going into the spring, like it's like Bill Gates is getting what he wants with the net zero and depopulation. It's all these, like, again, all these oligarchs. What do you call them? Black Pigeon Speaks did a really interesting dive on you know, all these, you know, oligarchs with their bomb shelters and stuff like that. And I have to agree with what he said on most of that. That's going to be their tombs. I've been saying that for a long time. Yeah, sure, they'll get away to New Zealand and all these places or whatever, but they're going to have to live underground for the rest of their natural lives, because as soon as they show, like, trust me, the amount of special forces guys going hunting for these people when they when they nuke us, when they finally get the war going, like every world elite is going to be on a hit list. I'm not making any threats. I'm just saying they will be on a hit list. I can guarantee you. Why? Because you're going to get all these people killed just because of your fucking lunacy, right? You want to depopulate the world, start with yourselves, you fuckers. You know, we don't need you. But that said, even if they can, you know, manage to pay people, like, you got to think of the mercenaries that they would have to hire to protect them. Like, those people would not be stable people to protect you. Why? Because if you don't pay them, they're not going to protect you. If you don't protect their families, they're not going to protect you. And if you have what they need and they're the ones protecting you, well, they're just going to take it. You know what I mean? Like that. Like, again, it's once the economic system is completely destroyed around the world, like the Great Reset isn't going to happen like that. It's not going to happen like that. So yeah, and not only that, even if they could get away with it, they have to live submariners. They get a couple of months under the sea, and then they got to come up because you see it with prisoners and stuff like that. Like human beings are not, no matter how luxurious it could be, you're not meant to be in captivity, right? You're not meant to be in captivity. You have to look out at the sunshine. Again, the isolation will probably, most people are probably just off themselves just from the depression, right? Yeah, so that's why submariners are so hard to get, because you have to put these people, basically in a tin can and throw them under the ocean and not have them freak out. You know what I mean? For like months at a time. It's that's what you're dealing with, right? Yeah. So these people want to bring about the apocalypse because they're insane. They think they're going to come up and just rule everything. No, that'll be the end of them. And again, these hidden bunkers and all that. You don't have to find the bunkers. You just have to find the people that make the bunkers, right? And once you find the people that make the bunkers, you know where all the bunkers are. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of special op guys that know where everything is. Anyway, so that's going to be interesting. But we'll see what happens in the next day or two. Yes, it's, again, more chaotic. This war, okay, the chaos is the war. Like, that is the goal. It's not about regime change and all that. It's about killing every Iranian. It's about getting every one of these Middle Eastern Gulf states to basically turn on Iran and get themselves killed in that. Like, trust me, the Israelis are measuring this out because they know that it doesn't matter if you wipe out all their water and stuff like that, because the thing is America is going to pay for the reconstruction of it. But Saudi Arabia, UAE, they can wipe out all those enemies now. Like, you know what I mean? Just and blame it on Iran, right? So, yeah. I think Henry Kissinger, hopefully he's burning in hell, but I'll leave with this, said it best, that if you think it's bad to be America's enemy, just wait till you're their friend. Well, put that on Israel. Can you imagine? Well, look what Israel has the Americans doing. You know what I mean? It's horrible. It's horrible. Most Americans do not want it. So yeah, we're going to see, as soon as that weather gets better, you're going to see revolts in the States like you've never seen. There will be regime change in the States. There's going to be a coup, color revolutions, coups, whatever. It's going to be very, very, keep your head on a swivel anywhere you go and prepare wisely. Food. You need at least two years worth of food stocked up for everybody that you know and love. Good luck with it. The normies are still not going to believe it. You saw what they did for toilet paper in 2020. Just wait till the food runs out. Yeah. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. So anyway, there we go. Have yourselves a great day.